I was kicked out by my family when I was 19 with nothing but a duffel bag and a head full of resentment. They made it clear I wasn't welcome anymore, especially after my younger sister Madison's high school graduation when they decided she needed her own space. Now, 12 years later, I'm the owner of a beautiful lakeside house, married, and living a life I built from scratch. But out of nowhere, my parents and Madison showed up at my doorstep with a shocking demand. They want me to sign over the house to my sister because, in their words, family comes first. I never thought I'd see them again. Not after the way they threw me out like trash the summer I turned 19. Yet there they were, standing in my driveway, looking older but just as entitled as ever. My parents, George and Linda, and, of course, Madison, the golden child. She stood with 2 kids hanging off her, wearing a strained smile that I recognized all too well. I felt Evelyn's hand tighten around mine as she whispered, "Is that them?" "Yeah," I muttered, heart pounding. I hadn't prepared for this moment, not after 12 years of silence. Madison shifted her weight, her gaze lingering on our house. The spacious 2-story home Evelyn and I built from nothing. It wasn't just a house. It was our sanctuary, every plank and nail a symbol of the life we fought to create. Seeing her here, like she had some claim to it, made my blood simmer. Before I could react, my father waved us over with that same authoritarian air he'd always had, like I was still some kid caught breaking curfew. "Alex," he called out, forcing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We need to talk." I didn't move. Couldn't. Part of me was still that rejected 19-year-old with a duffel bag and nowhere to go. Evelyn spoke first. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was steady, protective. My mother stepped forward, her expression twisting into a poorly disguised mask of concern. "We've fallen on hard times, Madison especially. We thought maybe you could help." "Help? After all this time?" I almost laughed. The nerve. "What exactly do you want?" I asked, cutting through the pretense. Dad cleared his throat, straightening his worn-out coat. "We lost the house," he admitted. "Madison's landlord evicted her. It's been tough." Madison's face twisted like she was tasting something bitter. "We wouldn't be here if we had any other choice. We just need somewhere to stay," Mom added quickly. "You've got so much room." I clenched my jaw. Of course, they assumed I'd fall in line. They'd done it my entire life. Taken and demanded, expecting me to be grateful for whatever scraps they offered. "We can't help you," I said firmly. "This is our home." Madison scoffed. "You're serious? You think you're too good for us now?" "No," Evelyn interjected. "But we're not responsible for you." Dad stepped forward, dropping the fake charm. "We're talking about family, Alex. You don't just turn your back on family." Family. That word hit me like a punch to the gut. Where was this loyalty when they kicked me out with nothing but a few crumpled bills and a bus ticket? "We're done here," I said coldly, turning toward the house. "Find someone else to leech off." "We're not done." Madison's voice cracked, sharp with desperation, or maybe fury. "You owe me." I spun around. "I owe you nothing. You left," she hissed. "They spent everything putting me through college because you were too selfish to stay and help." Selfish. The word echoed in my mind like a cruel joke. I'd worked 16-hour days, lived in cramped apartments, and clawed my way out of poverty while they coddled Madison like royalty. I survived. "You got everything handed to you," I spat. "Don't rewrite history." Dad's face darkened. "You might regret this, Alex." Evelyn grabbed my arm, gently but firmly. "Let's go inside." As we walked away, Madison shouted after us, "You think this is over? It's not." The door clicked shut behind us, but the weight of their presence lingered like a storm on the horizon. Evelyn exhaled sharply, resting her head against my chest. "You okay?" she whispered. "Not even close." I held her tight, trying to shake off the familiar ache rising in my chest. It was like some dark, forgotten part of me had been ripped open. I wasn't that scared kid anymore, but facing them again made me feel like I was. The following weeks felt like living in a pressure cooker. The phone calls started first. Blocked numbers, unfamiliar area codes, Even voicemails from my parents pleading for just a conversation. Madison's messages were different, spiteful and filled with accusations. One voicemail stuck with me. Asterisk, you think you can just ignore us? You're not better than me, Alex. You'll see. Asterisk. Evelyn wanted to involve the police after someone left a crumpled note in our mailbox that read, Asterisk, family doesn't abandon family. Asterisk, but there wasn't much the cops could do without a clear threat. We thought it might finally die down after a couple of quiet weeks, until I got a call at work from our neighbor, Mrs. Harlow. She lived across the lake and was one of those sharp-eyed retirees who saw everything. Alex, there's a moving truck outside your house. My stomach twisted. What? They're unloading furniture. Like they're moving in. I grabbed my keys and bolted, calling Evelyn as I drove. She was working late at the clinic and hadn't noticed any alerts from the security system. When I skidded into our driveway, my worst fear was confirmed. A large moving truck was parked in front of our house, half its contents already scattered across the lawn. Old couches, kids' toys, and battered cardboard boxes littered the grass like trash blown in by the wind. Madison stood in the front yard, barking orders at 2 delivery guys. My parents were there too, overseeing the chaos with smug satisfaction. What the hell is going on? I roared, jumping out of the car. Madison turned slowly, her lips curling into a mocking smile. We're moving in. Like hell you are. Dad stepped forward, palms raised like he was trying to reason with me. Alex, calm down. We're just getting settled. This is my house. My voice trembled with fury. You can't just. We talked to a lawyer, Madison interrupted smoothly. Family property can be contested if there's a verbal agreement or implied claim. And seeing as this used to be our grandparents' house, we have a case. I couldn't believe the audacity. My grandparents had sold this house long before their deaths. Evelyn and I bought it back from a random couple after saving for years. It was never left to anyone. You're insane, I hissed. Get your junk out of here before I call the police. Madison laughed. Go ahead. Cops can't evict us without a formal court order. And by the time you get one, we'll already be living here. I stood frozen, mind spinning. Could they really do this? Was there some legal loophole they were exploiting? My mother finally spoke, her voice syrupy sweet. We just want what's fair, Alex. You've done well. You can afford to be generous. I clenched my fists. Fair? You threw me out with nothing. You didn't care where I slept, whether I ate. But now you want fair. We were trying to protect Madison's future. Dad shot back, voice tightening. We didn't have the luxury of taking care of both of you. A bitter laugh escaped me. You mean you chose not to? Before they could respond, Evelyn's car screeched into the driveway. She stormed out, eyes blazing. What is this? She demanded, scanning the mess in our yard. Madison smirked. We're claiming what's ours. Evelyn squared her shoulders. You have no claim. This is our house. Get off our property. Madison stepped closer, venom dripping from her words. You're nothing but a spoiled, stuck-up. Try me. Evelyn's voice was sharp, lethal. For a moment, no one moved. Then Madison scoffed and waved the delivery guys off. Take it back to storage for now. They packed up slowly, drawing out every second like it was a performance meant to unnerve us. As they finally pulled away, Madison leaned close and hissed, "This isn't over." We stood in stunned silence as the truck disappeared down the winding gravel road. Evelyn grabbed my hand, trembling with barely suppressed rage. Alex, we need a lawyer. I nodded, still struggling to process what had just happened. Whatever game Madison was playing, she wasn't done, and something told me she'd only just begun. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, tense conversations, and sleepless nights. Vanessa, our sharp-witted attorney, didn't sugarcoat the situation when we first met with her. They don't have a real case, she assured us. But that doesn't mean they won't make your lives hell trying. She was right. Madison filed a fraudulent claim in small claims court, citing a bogus verbal agreement about the house being a family inheritance. It was laughable, but still enough to drag us into a legal battle. They're stalling, Vanessa warned. They know they'll lose in court, but the longer they drag this out, the more they hope you'll cave. The stress ate at Evelyn and me like rust on iron. The legal fees piled up and our personal lives took a hit. Evelyn's boss even called her into his office after seeing an inflammatory post Madison put online. Asterisk, heartless sibling steals family home. Leaves single mother and 2 kids homeless. Share if you believe in justice. Asterisk. It spread like wildfire. Suddenly, we were the villains of some fabricated sob story. Strangers sent threatening messages, calling us greedy monsters. Our neighbors avoided eye contact, and even the local paper printed a heavily biased article about the family feud. The worst came one cold November night when Evelyn and I returned from a late meeting with Vanessa. As we pulled into the driveway, I spotted something wrong. Red spray paint smeared across our white garage door in jagged, angry letters. "Thief!" Evelyn gasped, clutching my arm. I jumped out of the car, heart pounding, scanning the shadows for movement. But whoever did it was long gone. I called the police, but there was little they could do without witnesses. The officer took our statement, clearly unimpressed by what he deemed a family dispute gone bad. That night, Evelyn curled up against me in bed, her breath shaky. "Alex, how much more of this can we take?" she whispered. "It's like they won't stop until they destroy us." I held her tighter, guilt gnawing at me. This wasn't just about the house anymore. It was about control, about Madison wanting to crush us for daring to build something better than what she had. But I wasn't that scared, powerless kid anymore. The court date arrived on a cold, gray morning. Madison walked into the courtroom with our parents flanking her like loyal soldiers. She wore a smug expression, clearly expecting to walk away victorious, or at least with a hefty settlement. Evelyn squeezed my hand as Vanessa launched into action, systematically dismantling Madison's lies. She presented documents proving our legal ownership, evidence of our purchase, and even old property records showing the house had never been part of any inheritance. Madison's face twisted as each piece of evidence shattered her story. By the time the judge dismissed her claim with prejudice, she looked like she might combust from sheer rage. The judge's voice echoed through the courtroom. "The defendant's ownership is clear and indisputable. The plaintiff has no legal grounds for her claim." It was over. We'd won. As we left the courthouse, my mother rushed toward me, eyes gleaming with desperation. "Alex, wait!" she pleaded, clutching my arm. "We were only trying to." I yanked my arm free, ice settling in my chest. "Don't. You didn't come here for help. You came to take what was never yours." Her face crumpled, but I didn't care. They'd chosen their path long ago. Madison pushed past her, venom spilling from her glare. "You'll regret this," she hissed, her voice trembling with rage. "You think you're safe now, but karma's coming." I met her gaze, steady and unyielding. "Get off my property, or next time, you'll be leaving in handcuffs." For the first time, I saw something crack behind her eyes. Not anger, but realization. She'd lost for good. Life slowly returned to normal after that, though scars remained. We changed our phone numbers, installed a security system, and added a steel gate to the driveway. Felt excessive, but after everything, we couldn't take any chances. One crisp autumn morning, Evelyn and I sat on the dock, wrapped in blankets, sipping hot coffee as the sun rose over the lake. The air was cold but sharp and clear, a perfect reflection of how I felt. Lighter, freer. "I'm proud of you," Evelyn whispered, resting her head on my shoulder. "For standing up to them." I nodded, exhaling slowly. "I'm proud of us." I thought about my parents and Madison sometimes, where they might be, how their lives had unraveled. But I didn't feel anger anymore. Just nothing. They were part of a past I'd outgrown, like old shadows fading in the morning light. I'd fought for this life, for our home, our future, and no one was ever going to take that away again. Not them. Not anyone.